Hello, I am Lady Okira, Duchess of Silver Dragons and your local villainess, and the Love and Deep Space community is in complete shambles following the announcement and subsequent cancellation of the love interest Valko. From loud, obnoxious tweets about how ugly and cringe he is, to threatening to boycott the game, to genuine death threats, threats of ending one's own life, and harassment of the development team, and even getting the Chinese government involved, Valko has become the most infamous character on Love and Deep Space, and he never even got the chance to exist. So on the 22nd of June 2026, the new love interest for Love and Deep Space was announced, Valko. Valko was supposed to be a 26-year-old werewolf and the chairman of Eon Core Tech. And immediately fans were divided. On one hand, you had a good chunk of players who were interested or even excited for the new love interest, and they wanted to see what Valko had to offer, and they thought that he would have livened up the game. Quite a few people who had never played the game before decided to download it when seeing his trailer, and people who haven't touched the game in a while decided to reinstall the game as well, myself included. And on the other hand, we had the haters, people who did not want another love interest, people who thought he was ugly, that he looked AI generated, too westernized. Some people thought he didn't belong in the game because he's a werewolf, which, side note, we've got an alien, a dragon, like myself, a mermaid, a cyborg, and I don't actually know what's up with Zane. He's the abominable snowman, I guess. I don't know. But what makes you think that a werewolf doesn't fit in? You know, people complained about his 4 ears on his design, which is a pet peeve of mine, but nobody said a word when it was the cat banner. So do with that information what you will. And I even saw some homophobic comments about it, saying that the devs were trying to appeal to gay men or that they're gay themselves, and the colorist comments as well, saying that he's too dark-skinned. It really didn't take long for the Love and Deep Space social media pages to be flooded with an onslaught of people making hateful assumptions about Valko before they even got a dose of his personality. This trailer literally just showcased that he was a werewolf and his overall appearance. And from all of this pettiness, it just spiraled out of control, and the majority of complaints were from the Chinese player base, and this is how unhinged it all got. Please don't draw that dismembered stupid thing anymore, or I will commit suicide, and you will be responsible at that time. Boycott this game and let Origami delete that disgusting character. You brainless Western idiots. You really accept all the rotten things according to the order. I can no longer find the post or who posted it. I thought I had it saved in my Instagram collections, but I can't seem to find it anymore, so I'm sorry that I can't credit whoever posted this. I only have the screenshot because I sent the screenshot to a friend. But is this not the most delusional, unhinged thing that you've ever heard? People who behave like this over a game seriously need to be put in an asylum. And I'm going to say that because it's true. I don't care. If a game is causing this volatile behavior, this kind of reaction, then you need help. And I hope this person gets help, whoever she is. And this is just one example. So this is a tweet from Bitesticks, who I think they cover gacha games. And this is a summary on what the Chinese fans, and I use that term very loosely here, were doing. Breaking: Love and Deep Space is in major trouble. Millions of players have unfollowed them across social media. Millions of negative comments have been left across their videos. Chinese players, who have also sent cow dung, funeral chrysanthemums, curse banners and ritual items to Paper Games/Info's office as the Love and Deep Space controversy escalates to an all-new heights. The controversy has also drawn attention from Beijing Daily, which went on to publish an article stating that the backlash reflects a growing crisis of trust between Paper Games and its core player base. Some context. As of Allian's promotional campaign, Paper Games installed a giant Valco wolf print display and a large themed balloon outside of its office. According to reports circulating on Chinese social media, some extreme players placed cow dung inside the company's delivery lockers, with the visitors claiming they could smell the odour. Others left white and yellow chrysanthemums, curse banners, glutinous rice and pomelo leaves around the promotional display outside the building. Some visitors also posed outside the office while making middle finger gestures for photos. In modern Chinese culture, white and yellow chrysanthemums are closely associated with funerals, mourning, and paying respects to the deceased. Sending these flowers to a person or a company can be interpreted as wishing death upon the recipient. Meanwhile, glutinous rice and pomelo leaves are traditional folk items used in spiritual cleansing rituals to ward off evil spirits. Some protesters used them sarcastically to suggest that Paper Games had been possessed after introducing the new character and needed to ward off this new evil spirit. Following the protests, Paper Games reportedly increased security around its headquarters. While visitors were previously allowed to enter the building to take photos, recent reports claim that public access has been more restricted, particularly to prevent provocative photos or obscene gestures inside the office. According to the article by Beijing Daily, the issue goes far beyond Aoyan's appearance. While some players criticised his more westernized character design, the main source of frustration is that many longtime players feel the 5 love interests have been neglected. Main storylines of a love interest have reportedly gone over 500 days without updates. Many fans believe the company's resources have been redirected towards introducing a new character instead of continuing content for the existing cast. Around 12 to 1 AM China time, on the 27th to 28th, Paper Games released an official statement responding to the backlash. All players will receive compensation consisting of 10 limited wish tickets and 10 standard wish tickets, 20 pulls in total. So then once this was all starting to happen, the Love and Deepspace team released an official statement, and we have the official translation here by Rumizane on Instagram, so thank you to Rumizane for this. Recently, we have noticed many discussions circulating online regarding Love and Deepspace and its promotional content. We sincerely apologise for the misunderstandings and negative experiences these discussions have caused. Thank you for your continued attention and support. We will continue listening carefully to feedback from all players. To prevent these issues from affecting everyone's gaming experience, we would like to clarify the following. Controversy regarding the date in the World Under Abyss/Harmony Together. After receiving player feedback, we immediately investigated the numbers shown in the event updated on April 21st. After verification, the numbers were simply date placeholders with no meaning or special implication, and we'll get into all of this later, because this is very, you need context for what they're talking about here. But I will explain this more in detail later. We understand that these numbers have caused misunderstandings and have already corrected them as quickly as possible. This incident also reveals shortcomings in our internal review process. We will strengthen staff training and improve our quality control procedures to avoid similar issues in the future. Controversy over promotional copywriting. Regarding a livestream preview released on June 25th, the phrase translated "the wolf enters the room" has been reinterpreted in various misleading ways online. In reality, this was a playful expression matching the humorous style of the livestream. Again, I'll get into all of this in more detail a bit later. The finished livestream already demonstrated its intended meaning. Because many distorted interpretations are now spreading online, we have removed the related content to avoid further confusion. We also ask everyone not to believe the rumors. Likewise, in the June 28th PV, Instinct Collapse rules, the wording translated as "inviting the wolf into the house" was simply a literary expression describing the situation. Since it has caused a controversy, future Chinese promotional materials will instead use wording equivalent to "Pure Love Wolf King." Clarification regarding the rumors that the overseas exclusive character Valco turns the game into an all-gender game. As a romance game aimed at female players, Love and Deepspace has been committed to providing diverse romantic experiences. Every male lead is designed for players around the world. The claim that certain characters are created only for a specific country or region is completely false and contradicts our development philosophy. The rumour that the game is becoming an all-gender game is also entirely false and does not reflect the positioning of our game. And yes, this is something that people have been talking about on and off throughout the entirety of Love and Deepspace. It comes down to, well, we don't want men playing this game, and the homophobia of we don't want gay men playing our game. A lot of people were saying that according to Chinese standards or like Eastern standards, Valko is for the gay male gaze, essentially, like his appearance. And the more androgynous men are the beauty standard over there. So to a lot of Chinese players, it felt like Valko was catering to that audience when it's just not true. I really don't think that's what they were going for. And there were also rumors circulating a while back now that the Love and Deepspace team were planning on introducing a male MC. Like, instead of playing as a female, you could choose the option to be a male. And that wasn't true either, but I remember that rumor going around, and again, it was by the CN community. So this has been a debate that's been going on for a long time, and it keeps coming up over and over again. Anytime someone's upset with something, this is brought up. The English name Valko comes from Slavic language. It could be transliterated into Chinese as, I'm sorry, I can't read that, and means wolf, symbolizing courage, strength, and independence. Any claims about hidden meanings or other interpretations are rumors. I haven't heard anything about Valko's name specifically, so I'm not sure what the rumors surrounding that are. Since launch, Love and Deepspace has actively promoted Chinese culture internationally through its game content. As a Chinese company, we believe this is our responsibility and will continue doing so. However, during certain events, large amounts of misinformation have been deliberately spread online. Some individuals have taken content out of context, fabricated chat records or images, and intentionally stirred conflict between different player communities. We have also identified organized attempts to spread false information and manipulate public opinion. These actions seriously hurt players, damage the community, and harm our brand. We will pursue responsibility for such behavior. Finally, we sincerely thank all the players for their continued support and encouragement. We welcome everyone to continue sharing suggestions through official channels. We also ask that everyone remain cautious, think critically, and avoid being manipulated by individuals or groups spreading malicious rumors for personal gain. If you discover similar behavior, please report it through our official channels so we can work together to maintain a healthy community. Love and Deepspace Development Team, June 29th, 2026. So after posting this statement, it really did not do anything to quell the stirring fires that were happening, and things just kept getting worse. And following all of this, on the 30th of June 2026, just days after Valko's announcement, the Love and Deepspace team posted this official notice of cancellation and saying what they're planning to do for the future. Dear Miss Hunters, we sincerely apologize for reaching out once again. Over the past several days, our team has been closely following your conversations and feedback across all platforms. For the issues that have surfaced since the announcement of version 6.0 and the frustration these have caused your community, we want to clearly state we are sorry. As we've expressed before, our vision for Love and Deepspace has always been to build a world that grows alongside you, one that offers a richer, deeper sense of companionship over time. As various issues have arisen in recent days, we moved quickly to make the necessary adjustments. After reflecting on recent events, we recognized that we moved forward with the introduction of Valko before we were truly ready. In doing so, we let down the players who have supported us from the start, and we also fell short of delivering the experience that players anticipating Valko deserved. After extensive internal discussions, we have decided to make the following changes. We have decided to cancel both the launch and any further development of the new love interest. We also commit that no additional love interests will be introduced in future content plans. All of the in-game systems and features originally scheduled for version 6.0, including Home 2.0 and AR Photo Booth, as well as a limited time selectable 5-star memory rate up event, will proceed as planned. The outfits, photo poses and scenes, and the Night Hush box, the second anniversary 4-star memory selection crate, originally planned as rewards for the Hunt in Lincoln event, will instead be sent to players for free via an in-game mail after the version update. Going forward, the entire team will focus on further developing the stories and long-term companionship experiences of our 5 existing love interests, while also ensuring a stable pace of main story production and updates. Raphael's new Solar Slot memories and companion will be revealed in July. Farspace Colonel Caleb and Onikinus leader Silas will also return in their main story branches in September and November, respectively. By participating in the relevant events, players will be able to obtain the corresponding 5-star main story branch memories for free. We will continue to devote all of our care and effort into bringing you richer stories and game experiences. Beginning today and continuing for 30 days, players who log in each day will receive 1 Deepspace wish via in-game mail. Each mail will remain claimable for 3 days for a total of 30 Deepspace wishes. We hope we can offer this compensation for the disappointment and disruption caused by these adjustments. To our community, once again, we apologise. Because of our actions, the joy you should have found in Lincoln City became a source of distress, and the feelings you hold most dear were hurt. We are deeply sorry for the hurt and disappointment we have caused. Love and Deepspace has always been about sharing love with you and protecting the love we all hold dear. That purpose has never wavered. Every step forward taken by the love interest in Lincoln City from its beginnings to where it stands today has been shaped by your feedback, your passion, and your trust. It is your presence, care, and companionship that give this world its meaning and us the strength and direction to move forward. Over the past 2.5 years, we've shared moments of joy and gratitude as well as challenges and difficult times. Through every late night devoted to making this world better, it has been the moments you've shared in Lincoln City and the love and passion behind them that have kept us going. We hope to continue walking this road with you, building a world where love can take root, grow, and bloom. Going forward, we will work harder, listen more carefully, and do our utmost to honour the trust you have placed in us. We will stay focused on delivering the experience you deserve, one filled with joy, where every moment in Lincoln City can once again become a joyful and treasured memory. Lincoln City will always be here for you. Thank you for your trust, your honest feedback and encouragement, and for being with us every step of the way. Your companionship has helped light the path ahead, and your faith in us has given meaning to every effort we make. Thank you for your love throughout this journey. It gives us the courage to keep moving forward. We hope to repay that love with even more and even better content in the days to come. So, while this apology, I don't think it's a bad apology at all. Even though they're following up with cancelling Valco. I don't think it's a bad apology at all. If they're truly going to stick to their word and say that they're going to provide more clarity about what they're going to do and give us the story updates that we want and things like that. But it's a shame that it has taken such drastic action from the fans, if you can call them that, for this to happen, for them to have this epiphany that this is what they need to be doing. They should have been doing this in the first place, and I'm not discounting that at all. And we can see here that now there's no more posters in the window. There used to be one of each love interest, and Valco was right here on the end. And now they're just gone. They've been taken away. It's so sad. So because of the cancellation, global fans are now giving Infold backlash, and I get it. I saw a lot of tweets, Instagram posts, Reddit posts talking about how Valco's trailers enticed people to re-download the game after not playing for a while or downloading it for the very first time. And like, we were going to get even more players joining the community, and now their one incentive is just gone. And that's not to mention the people who have already spent money buying resources to be able to pull Valco's banners. They can be used on the other love interests, of course, but they were intended for Valco. And for some people, he was the only one they were interested in. So some people are saying that this is like false advertisement or consumer fraud. I don't know the legalities of such things, but that's potentially what's going on here. And I myself was going to do that as well. I was planning on spending money for Valco, but luckily I held off. You know, I haven't played the game since the house feature came out because I hate the house feature. You know, if I wanted to play The Sims, I would play The Sims. You know, it's a waste of space in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, just a few days ago, I opened the game and cleaned up the files to make space for Valco. And now I just feel like I've wasted my time because he's not coming anymore. And that was the only reason I opened the game. Like, he was what was going to bring me back. So a lot of global players are leaving 1-star reviews. Here's another tweet from White Sticks about it. Breaking news. Love and Deepspace hits catastrophic new low in terms of reception globally. It dropped from 4.4 stars to 2.2 overnight. It's actually on I think it's on 1.2 in my Play Store now. And now has over 100,000 negative reviews from players as of 10 AM July 1st, 2026. This is the worst the game has been received since its inception. Global players have begun to review bomb the game, leaving millions of negative reviews everywhere. Infold and Paper Games have, after their public address, went even further and absolutely nuked every instance of Valco from their YouTube channel. No trailers, no live streams, no YouTube shorts, nothing. Naturally, this has upset even more players as they're trying to sweep any and every instance of his existence under the rug, almost like he never existed. This is tragic, completely disrespectful to their players and the developers that wasted years of their time creating him. What a waste. And to think this could have all been avoided if they just released a roadmap of some sort in advance. And I couldn't agree more with that last statement. So it's not just the review bombing that the global fans are doing. They're also sending emails, flooding the comments with hashtag #BringBackValco. They're unfollowing all social media pages, and actually, there's a live counter that you can watch on YouTube. It's right here. There's a live counter showing how people are just unfollowing their, I think this is their Twitter account, yeah. And it's crazy because I swear when I opened this, maybe 15 minutes ago, this was on, I don't know, maybe 496, something like that. It's already gone down that much and it keeps going down. So yeah, there's a live counter if you want to watch. If you want to watch their Twitter followers drop. And they're doing other stuff as well. So signing petitions. I signed a petition as well because bring Valco back. They're refusing to spend money in the game, refusing to accept freebies because it will show infos that we accept that pitiful compensation. Although some people are saying that they're taking the freebies but not like fully playing the game or like spending money. So people are going about it in different ways, but I think the majority of people are not taking the freebies. And I think today a blackout was organized, so nobody was logging into the game or, you know, making fan art, although I'm sure people were still doing that anyway. It's mostly just like not logging into the game for a day. And it's all in protest for Valco's cancellation. So the reason that it got so bad and that they decided to cancel Valco, and it sounds pretty definitive, I don't think they're going to change their mind even with all of the pressure they're being put under right now by the global fans, is that the Chinese government has gotten involved, and this is basically, they're standing on their necks right now, essentially. So apparently some of the Chinese players had flagged certain concerns about the game. The first one being around women's safety, with the phrase, you know, letting a wolf into the house being used. This is essentially seen as a metaphor for a rapist breaking in. So we have this tweet here, RE the Valko stuff, CM players might have a point. From what I've been able to find, he was marketed very, very badly to them. The phrase letting a wolf into your home is akin to saying letting a rapist in your home. They very specifically use this idiom. They also use 731 in this world underneath stories, which is a number associated with human experimentation and a deep sense of shame for the country. This was a big point, i.e. I've seen someone say it's akin to the Holocaust. And I'll talk a bit more about what exactly 731 is in a moment. There's another tweet that kind of goes into a little bit more detail about what exactly that is. So we'll look at that in a minute. But mainly, the company enjoys cultural export privileges and support, yet they delete or rename a lot of Chinese local elements and fail to uphold the responsibility those privileges bring. Many CN players are angry at the company for enjoying export privileges off the backs of the money they spent enjoying the game, and not giving global servers the actual cultural elements of the game or respecting the country. So that's essentially one of the big things that people are upset about, okay, is this interpretation of the phrase letting a wolf into your home. And there was also something to do with a boiling pot of water, something like that, and some people think that's to do with like a real life crime case. I don't know much about the pot thing, but people are saying that it was supposed to be a reference to the fairy tale of the Three Little Pigs, you know, where there's a wolf and he's trying to catch these pigs, and when he comes to blow down the last house, he can't, so he climbs into the chimney, and they have a pot of water boiling in the chimney. And he falls into it. So I think it was supposed to be like just a cute reference to the classic fairy tale. They probably just didn't want to do Little Red Riding Hood because I think they recently did that for Infinity Nikki. So that was the only other fairy tale that they could probably think of that is like well known globally. And they used that. And they did say in their original statement that that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like a funny thing. So that's what that is. I really think that it's just the CN fans were just reading into it too much. Sometimes you say something and it comes off a certain way, you know, because people are overthinking it. And I think at this point as well, some of the CN fans were just looking for any excuse to try and get rid of Valko. So they were purposely digging for things. I'm not saying that, you know, with the race thing, it's a grey area. Of course, the implication is bad. I understand that, and I don't disagree with that. It's a horrible thing to imply. But I don't think Infold are stupid enough to do that, or at least I hope not. I think it was just a poor choice of words on their part, you know, letting a wolf into your home. But also, why are we suddenly concerned with women's safety? I mean, Silas is a kidnapper, and he actively stalks MC with Mephisto, and Caleb drugs and keeps MC hostage, and not to mention the pseudo-incest. They will defend the pseudo-incest to the grave. And I'm pretty sure that Xavier has also stalked and broken into MC's house as well. And yes, Caleb and Silas got hate when they were released, but it wasn't brought up with the Chinese government like this. So if Valko has to go for this phrasing, and mind you, it was a phrase, not even an action taken in the game because he was never put in the game. What we see in the trailer is that he just pokes around her house like a naughty little dog and then lifts her up into his arms like every other character has done so far. So if this is the line, then Caleb and Silas should be gone as well. You can't have rules for thee and not for me. They were only upset about Valko doing this, in my opinion, because they didn't find him attractive. I think that's the long and short of it. And the whole dark side is the point of Caleb, Silas, and Valko. I think they were meant to be kind of the opposing side to the original three, you know, Zane, Xavier, Raphael. That they were supposed to be the darker, edgier choices. But now all of a sudden, it's a concern. God, I've always hated the hypocrisy in this fandom. So there's this tweet from Captain Cabinets that made essentially the same point that I just made. All of this talk, and yet nothing describes why Valko was used as a scapegoat for these problems that largely had nothing to do with him. Unit 731 wasn't even his fault. Didn't that come as a consequence of Xavier? Why is that suddenly being prescribed to Valko? Call for accountability from Infold, get mad at them, protest. But there are some things that seem off. Valko being let into MC's house. Why is this suddenly a problem when they let Silas essentially kidnap the MC the first time we meet him? Or themes of Caleb being someone we knew from childhood becoming a whole love interest. Xavier stalking the MC, Raphael being a constant manipulator. Problematic themes none of you took issue with. But the ones with the metaphor of bringing a dog into the home is where you put your foot down. It all feels forced to global players. This is selective outrage. Finding problems in the smallest ways and trying to desperately match it to problematic situations so you have a reason to complain. And I can't agree more with this. It really is selective outrage. And I am going to get a bit more into why the CN players reacted this way to Valko, because on the surface it does seem like unwarranted hate, and for the majority of it, it is. But there is a point to be made that this was a final straw for a lot of the fan base. So I'll get into that, you know, a little bit later. For now, we're going to talk about the 731 incident because it's been mentioned a few times. So the other thing that was brought up and what everyone thinks really pulled the government into the situation and what the government is latching onto now is the use of the numbers 731. And this tweet here will explain exactly what it is. They do go on to say more about, then we found a drug experimentation record inside the game numbered 0731. If that means nothing to you, that's your ignorance, not our problem. Unit 731 was a Japanese military program that conducted live human experiments, vivisections, biological warfare, forced infections, on thousands of Chinese civilians and prisoners of war during World War II. The in-game record included a name which is a phonetic match to Japanese researchers from the unit, with a full narrative of injection protocols, endurance testing, and forced mental control. Players reported this through the customer service when it first launched. It was ignored. The company later called it a random placeholder number. 6 state media systems, a national think tank, and a prosecutor's office publicly called that a lie. Now, obviously, this is a tragic piece of history, and I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to defend Infold on this because it does seem intentional, and a part of me just can't believe that they were placeholder numbers, especially because I think this was first found in the game in April. But again, Valko is being used as a scapegoat here because it has nothing to do with him. This number was part of Xavier's story, and it just has nothing to do with Valko. So a lot of people think the CN players brought these things up in order to get rid of Valko. But now it's blown up into something far bigger, because now there are rumors circulating that this could result in Love and Deepspace being shut down, or even all Chinese Otome games being completely banned. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because I don't know if that's true. It's just what I've seen circulating online. So yeah, I found this meme. It's funny, but it's also not funny, considering what's going on right now. Report 731 so Infold will delete Valko from the game. Infold actually deletes Valko from the game. Chinese government is going to shut down the game and Otome genre in general. Yeah, like I said, I don't know for certain that that is going to happen. It's a possibility. Anything's possible, but take it with a grain of salt. Okay, we don't know what's happening yet. As of recording, Involved have not posted any kind of statement, so just keep it in the back of your mind, but don't circulate too many rumors about it. Don't like fearmonger, please. So this is where we're at now, and I want to be very clear. When I say the Chinese player base, I don't mean all of them, obviously. I'm not trying to generalize, and I've actually seen support from Chinese fans, those who stand with the global players, even if they didn't particularly like Valko themselves. There's a tweet here. Someone got a DM from a CN player, so we'll just quickly read this. Hello, I'm a player representative from China hoping to restore Aoyin's status as a male lead. Since today is a special Chinese holiday, during which all entertainment content is banned, we currently can't speak up or advocate for our rights domestically. So we want to team up with the girls on X who like Xiaolang. I assume that's Falco. And I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Also, I'm not very good at reading things in general. To advocate for our rights on international platforms instead. Once it passes midnight today, we'll advocate together in sync. Please, everyone, don't give up, okay? And then the person who posted this replied, hi, thank you so much for reaching out and sharing this with me. It really means a lot to know that there are CN players fighting alongside us. We're doing everything we can on the global side too, sending emails, spreading awareness, and encouraging others not to give up. I hope our voices can reach Infold. Valko deserves the chance to be introduced properly, and everyone deserves the freedom to decide for themselves whether they like him. Also, would it be okay if I shared your message with your permission to encourage more people to keep supporting Valko? I think it would give many players hope and show that we're not fighting alone. Thank you again, and let's keep doing our best together. And then here we have the original messenger's reply. Yes, please help spread this message to overseas players. Try to get it to as many people as possible. Chinese players are unable to advocate for our rights on the 1st of July, but on the 2nd of July, we're going all in. We sincerely ask everyone not to give up. There are also many people in China who love Valko. Right now, our understanding is that if the overseas community makes enough noise, there's a real chance Valko could come back online. We have to go into this fight determined to succeed. Please, girls on the overseas servers, hold on for one more day. And then there's this video here I found on Instagram that is talking about the support and talking about why things have escalated the way that they have. So we'll just quickly watch this now.
Miss Hunters, as a Hong Kong Love and Deepspace player, I want to say something about the Falco controversy. Yes, Hong Kong is technically part of China, but we don't play on the mainland server, we play on Taiwan server. Surprise! And I want to point out something important, that not all Chinese-speaking players thinks the same. Some criticized the design, some questioned about the timing. About Falco's release, I mean, I don't know every single Let's player in Hong Kong, but people around me were very chill about it. But I think most of us can agree on one thing, that this game has some major issues that needs to be fixed. Slow story updates, incomplete card pools, and somehow my 2025 VIP box is still not arrived. Seriously, I'm not saying players shouldn't boycott. I literally went free to play when they swapped Saint's Japanese voice actor. But this Falco backlash is different. It's way more intense. Years ago, I wouldn't understand why the mainland Chinese players connect everything to politics. But now I do. When people have limited ways to push back, political outrage becomes one of the few tools to get attention. And you don't blame goldfish for swimming inside the bowl it was given, right? But what shocked me the most wasn't even the controversy itself, it's Infold's decision. Come on. Out of all possible options, maybe redesign him, make him better, delay its rollout, they choose the most extreme way to do it. They simply cancel it. They say they're not going to put new characters after all. I genuinely feel sorry for Miss Hunters who were excited about Falco, and for players who have supported this game for such a long time. Love and Deepspace means a lot to me, and I have spent an embarrassing amount of money on this game, so yeah, I hate seeing this happen. I know there's a petition going around, but personally, I doubt it's going to change much, especially under current circumstances. Maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is we should at least try. Tell me what you think in the comments.
And then we have another video here showing Chinese fans supporting Valko. So clearly it's not all of them. And I don't want to make this sound like an us versus them situation because it's so much bigger than that now. But the Chinese fans that did act this way, you know, the delusional parasocial crazies that harassed the dev team and completely overreacted, they are so loud that it feels like it was a big chunk of the CN community. And it isn't. But their voices are so incredibly loud. But they don't represent the Chinese player base as a whole. Now, there is valuable discourse to be had about how Infold have never communicated with their players. They're not communicative. There weren't any roadmaps to show the future of the game. The player base felt largely unheard with concerns in the past, which is one of the bigger reasons that this whole thing blew up in the first place. The CN fans were angry with Valko's announcement, not only because they thought he was too westernized or too gay or whatever, both of those stupid complaints anyway, but they're also angry because Infold releasing him felt to so many people that other things in the game were being completely ignored. People wanted Caleb and Silas's stories to be completed, people wanted the main story to be worked on, they wanted better resource allocation. We've seen now a few tweets mentioning all of this. There are certain bugs that need fixing, things like that. And Infold was just ignoring all of that to work on Valko. That's what they think. So here we have a post on Instagram by KQ. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Basically saying why the Chinese player base did not like Valko. I'm gonna have to pause to read because they do go really fast. So claims that he has a tough, rugged Western style that doesn't appeal to most of them is the first one. His model resembles other characters such as Arthur from Honor of Kings, so he lacks uniqueness, which I don't think he does, to be honest. I think that's just a bit of a stretch. He is the chairman of the villainous organization Eon Corps, the very company that had harmed the other love interests and their families in the main storyline, which, okay, yeah, I guess you can think of that as a problem. I don't personally, because it's not the first time I've encountered a villain you can romance in an Otome game, so it doesn't bother me, you know? The introduction of Valko feels sudden, giving the impression that it was a cash grab for a new gacha pool, or trying to beat the upcoming competitor game Silent Whispers. I can understand that he does feel like he was suddenly introduced. I don't think he was a cash grab, though. I really do think that he was in the works for a long time. I mean, you can't just make a character like this in a month, you know? He's been in the works for a long time. Do I think he was dropped at the wrong time? Yes, I do. I can see how people would think that this is the case. Part of his character's storyline basically romanticizes breaking into someone's home and doesn't care about women living alone. Yep, we've seen that one already. Chinese media criticized paper games for using the phrase letting a wolf into the house. Yep, we've covered that. Because Valko, a werewolf, breaks into the home of a woman living alone, the news mentioned that games must adhere to public order and good moral values, and the game should not trivialize women's safety. As part of the storyline, the human experimentation file number is named 0731, and the recorder's name sounds similar to a Class A war criminal who invaded China. Yep, we've covered this as well. Later, the number changed only in the Chinese server to 0611, but it's still related to the Daozhou 611 massacre in Dongwon in 1941, where the Japanese army used gas on Chinese city. See, that wasn't mentioned. So it sounds like they used a horrible number and then replaced it with a different horrible number. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I really don't. Like, what are the chances? There are so many combinations of numbers you can have. But to land on those two, that does sound suspicious to me. I'm not going to defend Infold on that one. Chinese media published articles criticizing the use of random numbers to explain historically sensitive designations as self-deception. They argued that artistic creation must adhere to the bottom line of historical sentiment and cannot disregard national trauma. The public generally believes that artistic creation can be imaginative, but it must never test the limits of national trauma. do agree with this. Like this sentiment, yes, I agree with this. However, despite how paper games brush it off as random numbers, they were found to have used the numbers 731 numerous times in the game. And we can see here that, you know, the same combination of numbers comes up, which I think the combination of numbers, depending on the way it goes, like I think for the other things where those three numbers are used, that could be a coincidence, but the other two instances where the very specific combination was used, that doesn't sit right with me. But I think any other combination of 731, so like 173, 713, 137, I don't think they're going to keep trying to allude to it with the same combination numbers. I think at some point they do just keyboard smash and it comes up with numbers. There are only 10 numbers on the keyboard, right? So I think any other instance where it's those three numbers but not in the 731 order, it could be a complete accident. But I do agree that the specific use of those numbers is highly suspicious. After losing this fight with this wanderer created from experimentation, sea netizens realized that the sound effects had a creepy resemblance of moaning and wailing of prisoners of war, once again reminding them of Unit 731. Okay, yeah, that sound isn't a good sound. Yeah, that also sounds... that does feel icky to me, yeah. Yeah. After all, these paper games never address the issue, and Chinese netizens are still demanding a proper apology. You can see the reviews completely tanked. So those are the reasons why Valco has caused trouble, and there are other concerns with the game as well. We can see the frustrations, and I get it. I get the concerns. I get that Infold did not communicate with their intentions well enough. I get that Valco's timing was wrong, that they marketed him really badly towards the CN fans. But in my opinion, Valco was never the real problem, and everyone's frustrations were unfairly taken out on him. And now we're at the point where he's gone, and we'll never have another love interest added to the game, when I think they were always meant to be 6. A lot of people think that Valco was a last-minute cash grab, as this video mentioned here, and I just don't think that's the case. Because like I said, Caleb, Silas, and Valco were meant to be the 3 dark options for the original 3. It creates like a balance. There are 6 coloured, what are they called? Stalactrums? I'm pretty sure there are 6 colours, 1 for each love interest. The yellow one was intended for Valco. And the coming soon sign that you normally see when you can select a love interest, that would be next to Caleb. That was next to Caleb from the day he was launched, as far as I remember anyway. I remember seeing that very, very, very long time ago. Like, they may not have known what exactly Valco looked like yet, or what his personality was going to be like, or even that he was like a werewolf, you know. But I feel like he had a role in the story, and the characters' stories are so interwoven that it's clear that he was meant to be here from the start. And as someone who loves making OCs and stories and characters, my characters are so deeply involved with each other. And I'm not talking about interactions. I'm talking about how their stories intertwine into one big narrative. They may never, ever interact on a personal level, but the actions that they take can have a ripple effect on the others. And I feel like this is what we needed Valco for. I feel like he was the last piece of the puzzle. Just the model, the memories, the storyline, the voice acting, that's not something that can be made in just 1 month, or 3 months, or even 6 months. He was ready to launch. This takes years. And now it's just years of work down the drain. And now, where does this leave the story? if he played such an integral part of the story, what's going to happen? Either the story will be rewritten, which means it will take even longer for the main story to continue, or his role is going to be offloaded onto the other love interests, which means that they are no longer their genuine selves. It risks jeopardizing the authenticity of their personalities because now they have to act a certain way that doesn't fit their character to keep to the storyline. And I'm willing to bet that if this is what they're going to do, the burden is going to fall mostly on Silas's shoulders. So either way, the story suffers without Valko. Whether it's because the rewrites are taking too long, or the plot now has holes, or doesn't make sense, or the story suffers because the love interests have to fill a hole that Valko left, and now they may act out of character, and their motivations may no longer make sense. I really don't think that removing Valko was the answer. Removing Valko isn't going to get you your updates faster. It's not going to magically fix the bugs or add new content. What they should have done was delay his release and address the concerns with the game that were being brought up, like the Caleb and Silas stories and the resource allocation. I think to cancel him entirely was the wrong move for several reasons. Firstly, now they're getting backlash from global fans and the Chinese fans who stand at our side. And secondly, kowtowing to the delusional, irresponsible, selfish players and giving them what they wanted by removing Valko. They are now enabling this behavior because now that these crazy individuals know that this will get them what they want, they're going to keep doing it. Now that they know that throwing a fit and acting violent works, they'll just do it again and again, and they'll do it with other games as well. This is far bigger than Love and Deepspace. And now, when companies don't bend the knee, like Infold has, these individuals are going to get more intense. They're going to push harder until somebody breaks. And one day it could really result in somebody getting seriously hurt if this behavior is enabled. They should never have deleted Valko. It's the people who acted this way did not see the bigger picture. They didn't see or didn't care how this behavior reflects on all of us and on things outside of Love and Deepspace. This behavior doesn't just affect the representation of Love and Deepspace and its fans, it affects the reputation of Otome games as a whole, and we can see that now with rumors circulating that the whole genre could get banned in China. It affects the reputation of people who play Otome games, and even the casual enjoyers, they're going to get, the negativity from that as well. It affects the reputation of Chinese video game players as a whole, and it affects women, the reputation of women. This game is catered to women. The demographic is largely women. Time and time again, we get told that women are too emotional, and this behavior is only validating and perpetuating that belief about us. This has already reached audiences that don't play these games. And that includes men who are now going to see this and feel vindicated in saying that women are too emotional and that we shouldn't be in positions of power, that we shouldn't be allowed to play video games, that we're all psychopaths and we need to be locked up. This behavior is setting us back decades in a single week. If this is how we're reacting over a game, over a group of pixels, what hope is there for us? I can't even describe how frustrated I am about this whole thing. Just sitting here and watching this community and the game bathe in hellfire in a little over a week is insane. This is by far the worst thing I have ever experienced in an Otome space. Ever. And it's not like I haven't seen things like this before. I was there when the 3 latest side characters were announced for Otome, and one of them happened to be a female character. Her name is 13. And the amount of hate she got was crazy, and it was unjustified. And I was appalled at that, but now this is unfathomable to me. And yet it's happening. We won. Bro, you're playing an Otome game and you don't want more love interests? Have you ever played one before? Yes, exactly. This is another thing that I have to talk about. All of the complaints feel so... I don't know another word to use, so we'll just use it anyway. They feel like they're coming from normies who have never interacted with an Otome game before. Otome veterans have seen much worse themes in other games. Much worse. You know, kidnapping, breaking into MC's house, stalking, pseudo-incest, actual incest, non-consent. These things are a normal Tuesday for any other Otome game. And I'm not saying that I agree with these themes at all. I'm just saying that nobody really bats an eye because we've become so desensitized. And because Love and Deepspace drew a large crowd from outside the Otome space, and this is the only game that they've played, it's their first time experiencing this darker aspect to Otome games, and they don't know how to handle it, when the answer is just to not engage with it. There are multiple love interests for a reason. Play with your favorite and ignore the rest. Like, listen, I hate Raphael. I do. He's my least favorite, and Caleb is a close second. Do you know what I do about it? Ignore them. I ignore their banners. I don't enable them on my home screen. I don't read their memories or bonds or whatever. I don't play the minigames or take photos with them. It really is as simple as that, and I don't know why they're not grasping that concept. I don't understand. And then there's this post from Rumizane on Instagram, so thank you, Rumizane, for this as well. You really need to learn more about Otome games. For many players, Love and Deepspace is their very first Otome game, which is why they don't understand why a villain or an enemy can suddenly become a love interest. But that's actually a very common trope within the genre. You don't have to like it, but it's nothing unusual or shocking. Otome games have always featured a wide variety of character archetypes and relationship dynamics, including villains, rivals, enemies, morally grey characters, and everything in between. Not every interest needs to be a sweet, perfect green flag prince, and that's part of what makes the genre so popular. Listing every Otome trope is practically impossible because the genre has existed for decades and continues to evolve. However, here are some of the most common tropes and recurring tropes found in Otome games. And these are all the relationship tropes, so enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers, childhood friends, friends to lovers, bodyguard and heroine, boss and employee, prince and commoner, teacher and student, depending on the game. It's they've put in brackets, fake relationship, marriage of convenience, second chance romance. And then they go on to list all of the love interest archetypes, which I won't go through, but, you know, cold CEO, mafia boss, assassin, villain, bad boy. They're all on there, along with the green flag stuff, you know, like the protector, the knight, you know. And then they've listed a bunch of story tropes, so like the villain falls in love, the heroine saves the villain saves the heroine, having a secret identity, hidden past, lost memories and amnesia, reincarnation, time travel. It really does cover everything you can think of, because Otome games, for the most part, are visual novels, so they follow the same kind of tropes that you get in novels. If Valko truly is the MC's first real enemy, experienced Otome game players would immediately recognize these tropes, such as enemies to lovers, villain route, the antagonist's love interest, the man who hates the MC, the moral grey love interest, dangerous man trope, the monster behind the mask, the enemy who understands her best. These tropes are not unusual within the Otome genre. In fact, many players actively seek out these types of characters because they offer something different from the traditional nice guy love interest. This is why many longtime Otome fans are surprised by the current reactions of the community. It's not because everyone has to like the character, but because the concept of an enemy, villain, or morally questionable love interest is nothing new in Otome games. It's a well-established part of the genre. And they're absolutely right. I 100% agree. I think that the majority of the complaints are coming from the normies. Again, that's the only one I can think of right now. The inexperienced players, I'll say. It comes from the inexperienced players. One final reminder to the community, not every love interest is meant to be for every player. That's exactly how it should be. The purpose of having multiple love interests is to offer something for everyone. Some people prefer the childhood friend, others the villain, the rival, the red flag, or the morally grey character. None of these preferences make someone a bad person. If a character isn't for you, that's completely fine, but please respect the people who enjoy them and the game. Nobody deserves to be mocked, harassed, or bullied for simply enjoying a fictional character in a game. Many of us play games to relax, have fun, and take a break from real life. Let's not take that away from each other. Most importantly, let's show respect not only to fellow players, but also the developers who invest their time, creativity, and passion into creating this content for us. You don't have to love every character, you don't even have to like them, but respect costs nothing. And that really is the most poignant message I've heard throughout this. It really is as simple as that. Like, why couldn't we have just respected each other? It really was so easy. And now it's just spiraled into this, I don't even know, this clusterfuck. Pardon my language. My butler would not be happy about that. Like, this whole thing is just beyond measure. It's bigger than any of us ever expected. It's like pouring kerosene on an open fire. And even though Infold are mostly to blame for all this, for their lack of communication, their careless marketing, making the fans feel unheard, I do feel bad for the teams that worked on Valko and the teams in general for having to endure the harassment by these overzealous fans. Like I said, like, this is years of work just gone up in smoke. And not only is his cancellation a slap in the face for the fans who were excited for him, it must be genuinely heartbreaking to those who worked on him for so long. The writers, the developers, the artists, 3D modelers, mocap actors, voice actors. So much work was put into Valko, and for what? For them to lose their job? For the whole company to potentially lose their job if what the rumors are saying is true? There are innocent people in this. People who are just doing as they're told, who are just trying to, make a living. They need to put food on the table and pay the bills. And this whole experience must be so stressful for them, to say the least. I don't think anyone besides the lunatics that started this fire are happy about the direction this has taken. And I'm sure even they must be having second thoughts by now, because they may have just shot themselves in the foot if Love and Deepspace gets removed entirely. We haven't just lost Valko. They've lost their favourites. They've lost Caleb. They've lost Xavier, Silas, Zane, Raphael. They'll all be gone too if things escalate any more than they already have. So I don't have much hope in the outcome of this whole situation. We still haven't heard anything from Infold yet as of recording. I want to believe that the game won't get banned, that Valko will be put back, and Infold will start having a better correspondence with the players and listening to the global players a little bit more as well. But only time will tell, and it really isn't looking good. And just a final point by Silas Feather on Instagram. This is a gentle reminder to all of you. Right this second, we still haven't received any official information from Paper Games/Infold. Until we have that clarity, we're in a very vulnerable position as a player base. Anything can happen and any business decision can be made at any moment. But without a clear source, we don't know what the future holds. It's important to approach any rumours, hearsay, or unofficial information with caution. Whether it's claims about the company, government involvement, or the game's future, please don't accept them at face value. Think critically, verify information whenever possible, and avoid spreading unconfirmed claims. So yes, even though I've talked a lot about the rumours circulating about the government getting involved and possibly shutting down Involved/Paper Games, and thinking of banning the Otome genre as a whole, don't think that's exactly what's going to happen. Because that is just a rumour. I don't know for certain. I'm just relaying what people are currently talking about. So until Infold come out with an official statement, it's best to just take everything with a grain of salt. And you can consider it, but don't take it as the end-all be-all of the situation, because we genuinely have no idea what's going to happen. So this is where we're at now. I've given you what information I can. Not all of it may be accurate. I just want to put a disclaimer there right now, and I'm not trying to spread false narratives or anything like that. I'm simply relaying what is circulating around the community right now. If you're going to leave a comment in the comment section about this whole situation, I would greatly appreciate that. But please be mindful and be respectful. You can voice your opinions, your thoughts, you can be upset about the situation, but I want you to be mature about it. I don't want this to turn into more of a political thing than it already is. I don't want to see any hate towards one another, because it's going to get us nowhere. It's only adding fuel to the fire. If you're going to voice anything like that, please, please, please keep it respectful. If you've made it all the way to the end here, thank you so much for watching. Oh my god, my voice is going. I'm not used to speaking for so long. I'll be keeping my eye on the situation, so if there's something else to talk about, then I will. I will hopefully be able to keep up with the updates. Although I'm quite busy, so I might be a bit late if something does happen. But I will try my best to keep on top of it. Hopefully this situation can turn around for the better. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, darling human, and I will hopefully see you again soon.